The truth about Shiba Inu and Vitalik Buterin has just been revealed. Vitalik recently went on the Lex Friedman podcast, and in the beginning they discussed just what Vitalik's brain was doing as the Shiba Inu craze was taking over cryptocurrency. He explains that Shiba wasn't actually the first token that sent some of its supply to his wallet. The name of his first token is Stellar, and the amount they sent was worth about $50,000. This part didn't seem to annoy Vitalik. But after this happened, he says a Twitter army began tweeting that he was a big supporter of the coin because he has done tokens in his wallet. He sort of hints that this was on purpose, like it was some kind of marketing gimmick designed to convince people that the token was good because Vitalik held some of it. He then explains that as soon as he realized what was happening, he immediately put all of the tokens on Unison. Apparently, this wasn't too well received by the Twitter community. But hey, they were using his name without permission. This is where it gets interesting. The reason he could dump everything as soon as he heard what was happening is because they sent those tokens to a hot wallet that Vitalik owned, meaning that his private key was on a computer or a USB that he could easily access to move funds. But Shiba was different now that Shiba people were more clever. The Shiba people, as Vitalik calls them, send the funds to Vitalik's cold wallet. Usually, a cold wallet indicates that the private key is stored offline on a piece of paper or a computer that is never connected to the internet. Vitalik's setup for his cold wallet meant that the founders of Shiba Inu had done something that was either a stroke of genius or a stroke of luck. Due to COVID-19, Vitalik was stuck in Singapore away from his humble home in Canada. In the cryptocurrency world, this should not be an issue as you can access a wallet from anywhere, and that's kind of the point. The problem was that the security methods used by Vitalik for his cold wallet were something out of a science fiction novel. He had one half of the private key with him in Singapore and the other half was all the way back in Canada. This is a bit eerie, but if someone kidnapped Vitalik during that time, he physically wouldn't have been able to give up his money. He didn't even have the access himself. At first, the inconvenience of this turned Vitalik into an observer. He watched the coins grow in value, and of course, he saw how many different projects copied Shiba by sending him tokens. Eventually, the worth of the tokens got so high that he realized a lot of good could be done in the world if he figured out a way to access his wallet safely. It would have been a waste to just do nothing and potentially see the price go back down to zero without any charity or good cause benefiting from it. Unfortunately, the cold wallet was still a huge issue. He couldn't go home to get his private key, but he needed to get access because he knew he had to do something about these coins. The cold wallet also had a huge stash of Ethereum inside, which added a layer of danger that isn't very fun. If Vitalik messed up by leaking his private key or getting a transaction wrong, then he could lose all of his Ethereum. It wasn't just the dog coins that were at stake here. In the end, he had to get his family back in Canada involved. He had them read out his private key over the phone to him. This sounds pretty dangerous, but in reality, only half of his private key was being given over the phone. So even if someone were listening, they wouldn't be able to do anything. On top of that, Vitalik bought a brand new computer from Target for maximum security. On it, he combined his private key and the one his family read out to him over the phone into the 80-digit number he needed to work his magic. But the story isn't over yet. This cold wallet wasn't just filled with dog tokens. He says he spent 2 days setting up a new wallet for his stack of Ether. And this time the wallet was multi-signed, meaning that he had to find people to set up the wallet with. It's very technical and complex to set up a multi-signature wallet, but in the end, it can provide a higher level of security. It's so complex. The vital things he did during those 2 days as something you would expect from a cyberpunk novel. This was all before he even sent a transaction. The question here is whether the founder of Shiba knew about this. Did Ryoshi know that Vitalik wouldn't be able to do anything with these funds without extreme effort and time? Either way, it's one of the reasons that Shiba as well as the other dog tokens had so much time to gain traction and value. In all likelihood, Vitalik would have acted much earlier if the funds were easily accessible. His first transaction was obviously to secure his huge stack of Ether by sending it to the new multi-sign wallet. He says that this part was incredibly stressful. Can you imagine putting hundreds of millions of dollars into a single transaction? Especially one where you can painstakingly watch it on the blockchain and see if it's been confirmed and how long it's going to take. One mistake and poof, it's all gone forever. It was no small sum either. It was 325,000 Ether, which as of the 5th of June is worth $845 million. The amount of money is terrifying. It's more stressful than your average transaction as well. This is because he was sending it to a multi-sign wallet. You know, maybe the multi-sign wallet had a bug in it. Maybe there's like some mistake I'll make in the middle of that causes the funds to get one. Let's face it, it would also be incredibly embarrassing if the face of the world's second largest cryptocurrency messed up a transaction and lost all of his funds. All the crypto skeptics out there would have FUD ammo for a lifetime. In reality, Vitalik would never make that mistake. And in the end, the transaction was successful. Now Vitalik could spend some solid time thinking about all of the dog tokens and what he should do with them. But he couldn't spend too much time. The longer he waited, the higher the chance that the price would crash, and then his donation would be worthless. In the worst case scenario, his donations could be worth absolute nothing. So he swiftly decided to donate 10% of the tokens to an Indian COVID relief fund, and other 10% to another charity which he didn't want to name just yet. The reason for this is that he thinks this charity will want to announce it themselves. It's quite good publicity, really. He has said though that he wanted to donate to a charity concerned with preventing the loss of human life in the long term, so that's probably a hint. The other 80% he completely burned. This time it's for real and nobody will ever access it. This is more likely to stop the price from crashing to zero. It's easy to think that he could have donated all $7 billion to charity, but this would have actually caused a huge sell-off. Nobody would be able to sell their tokens for a good price if he did that. By burning 80%, he massively increases the likelihood that these charities have a chance to sell the tokens and get some serious value out of it. In fact, he stated that he is impressed with how much money the charities have been able to get so far from selling the tokens. After all, he did this right at the peak of the recent crypto bull run, and only a few days before the massive crash happened. He almost implies that he knew that the market was going to crash, and the fact that he had to act quickly because of this just added to the stress of the situation. It would be nice to know that the market was going to crash, but it's simply too hard to time. Although if anyone were to know in advance, it's probably someone like Vitalik Buterin. He did say he was slightly worried about what the community response would be. It was definitely the case that when Vitalik began moving funds around, people immediately thought he was pulling one of the greatest rug pulls in the crypto industry. But he also says that he saw a lot of people who were pleasantly surprised with what Vitalik had done. These people thought that they had bought Shiba was a fun little gamble, and for them it had transformed into a good deed for humanity, which was a little bonus. This is why he has said multiple times that he is impressed by the dog token community.
Impressive. So, all in all, I think the dog people did great.
Luckily for us, Lex Friedman asked Vitalik what he thought about the whole thing in terms of the bigger picture, which allows us to get a sneak peek into the more philosophical mind of Vitalik Buterin. He says that the big thing to take away from the whole dog token era is that cryptocurrency is not just a technology for storing value and making money. It's also an opportunity to create digital institutions that can serve the public good in new ways. He even says that he wrote an article in 2015 predicting the rise of tokens that represent social causes and that people would buy tokens and support them. And now it's real, these tokens don't just die and fizzle out either. Shiba is still going. It's ranked 33 with a market cap of over $3 billion. This gives the charity a real opportunity to get a massive amount of money out of the SHIB community. Although the SHIB is an exception, many of the dog coins like Dojol on Mars have seen their price plummet without recovering. Perhaps the reason for this is that the SHIB has a roadmap with future releases of more coins and a charitable cause behind it, whereas the others just copied Shiba and hoped for a slice of the pie, and in all honesty, the creators probably banked millions. What would you think about this whole situation? Did the Shiba creators know that Vitalik would have a seriously hard time accessing the wallet they sent funds to? Did Vitalik do the right thing with the tokens? Let us know in the comment section below. With all that is being said, we have come to the end of this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to stay updated on the latest crypto news.